And let's say for a university student, what advice would you give him or her to make the most out of the time at university?
I'm going to sound very boring and very old and very professor-like,
Yeah.
but there is no substitute for learning.
Learning.
Right?
Okay.
I think the lesser shortcuts you try to take in your learning, because again, I just feel students get caught up in this very vicious cycle of I need to get good grades, right? So let me take subjects where I can get good grades. Let me somehow cut corners, somehow do smart work to get good grades, and that's the objective of college.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think the objective of college is well and truly to learn, irrespective of did you get great grades or not, right? And it's hard. I think you're all competing with each other. There's relative grading. We were discussing that in class, etc. Right?
Yeah.
So you want to do a one-up on each other all the time, and therefore you focus almost too much on getting the right grade. I would love for universities and students to focus more on the learning, less on the grade, right? So if there's one thing that students can actively, consciously do, is get into the habit of learning and picking up new skills, right? As opposed to cramming something or just focusing on, here's the example, here's the textbook knowledge, let me go and write it in an exam paper. Whether I understood or not, who cares? It gets me a good grade. I don't think that's the right mindset.
So one thing I always observe from myself is that like I say, oh, there's an upcoming test. I will review for it, and I do really good. When I step out the exam, I forgot everything.
Yeah.
So what is the correct way of learning? So how do you make sure that you actually learn it and remember it and apply it in real life?
No, that's great. Unless you understand the application of something, don't consider it learnt. Right? Okay. I think the mistake, and we've all been there, Tiger. I mean, I'm sure, like I did an engineering for my undergrad. If you ask me, do I remember most of these things? I probably don't, because I was making very similar mistakes to probably what you described, right?
Yeah.
I was mistaking knowledge for learning. They're not the same things.
Okay.
Knowing something is very different to being able to apply it in the real world, right? You forget things simply because, like you rightly said, right? After the exam, I've forgotten everything. My whole degree I've forgotten, frankly. I'm a mechanical engineer, I've forgotten everything about it. Because I made the same mistake that you're talking about. For 4 years, I focused on gaining knowledge, not necessarily where and how will I apply that knowledge in the real world. The minute you shift focus from knowledge to skill, Tiger, and therefore, here's what I learned in class today, here is the application of that. That application is very hard to forget. Knowledge is easy because then there is so much knowledge from everywhere.
Sure.
All forms of social media, all forms of news. There's just so much data, information being thrown at us. If we try to consume all of that as knowledge, it's easy to forget because we're all kind of human, right?
Yes.
But if we start to say, I learned this concept and I also applied this concept in the real workplace or in my project or in my assignment at school, it will be harder to forget.
Okay. Let's say you are learning a concept, like let's pull out something from, we are learning about HR, so let's say you learn about a concept in HR. So then how can you bring it into real life? How can you do the application so that you can remember this?
Yeah, so from a student point of view, definitely try that in your internships. A lot of what I have taught you, hopefully, right? You should be able to, whether it's about the whole concept of hiring for skills, right? What skill did they want you to demonstrate in your internship? Are you demonstrating those skills or not? Whether it's about performance management, right? We were just discussing that in class, that what is the format of evaluating an employee's performance? You should be observant around in your own internships as you get into those, right? To say, here was my job description or the roles and responsibilities tasked to me. How did I perform on these, and whether they actually follow some of the templates and checklists that Avantika was describing in class, right?
Yeah.
So it's very easy to, especially in HR, right? Because HR is everywhere. It is human resources.
Yes.
In every company, you're either an employee or an employer, right? Either way, it's quite natural and normal to be able to see human resource management, whether good or bad is a separate matter. But it's very easy to see what concepts, a lot of what we've discussed in class, in your everyday life, in your internship.
Yes,
Yeah.
true. Say, how do you prioritize time?
I get this question a lot, right? Both from people within EY, from students, from... I think, again, this is my way of doing it, Tiger. I'm not saying this is the only way to do it, but for me, it is a lot of discipline in managing my calendar, right? So whether it's dinner with friends or it's a cycling brevet, which basically means you cycle for 200 kilometers, 400 kilometers, 600. I do long distance cycling. Or it's, a marathon that I'm running, or it's a theater audition that I'm supposed to give on a Saturday afternoon. Everything is in my diary, right? So for me, is in my calendar, right? So essentially, things that are important for me, which is all of these things that I just said, right? Apart from work, teaching, theater, sports, fitness, all of this is important for me, right? All of this will be on my calendar because at least my philosophy, and I'm not saying it's the only one, whatever's on my calendar gets done.
Okay. Wow.
Because then I meticulously manage it, track it, fiercely protect my calendar, right? So if I've said Saturday evening, 7 to 9, I want to meet business school friends, I will make sure that happens, right? Sunday morning, I want to go out for a long run with my partner, I will make sure that happens. Does that make sense? So I just essentially follow my calendar to the T.
I really like that concept. Like, if it's on the calendar,
it gets done.
I just get done. Like, I would do anything to get it done.
Exactly. I would do anything to get it done.
If I am not planning to get it done, then I would not put it on the calendar.
Exactly.
That's a really great way.
Exactly. It works for me, man. I'm not sure if it's great advice, but it definitely works for me.